When we are young, we dream for the future. For many, a good education is an important, key part of reaching dreams. Everyone should have the opportunity for educational success, no matter where they come from. The DREAM Act stands for Development, Relief, and Education for Alien Minors. The bill was first introduced in 2001 and again in May 2011. The bill would provide conditional residency and federally funded financial aid for alien minors who complete 4 years of college or 2 years of military service. This conditional residency would put them on the path to citizenship.
Hi, my name is Dee Dee Pekowitz. I am 17 years old and I'm a senior at Notre Dame High School. I was born in Oaxaca, Mexico, which is a southern state. I lived there until I was 7, and all throughout my childhood, my parents brought me along to their different work sites, and I was able to witness the different sides of Mexico, the impoverished side and the very wealthy and affluent side. And so I was able to see how the impoverished people had to struggle to survive each day, and realized once I moved to the U.S. when I was 7, I started understanding a little bit more about the roots of immigration and why people were coming to the U.S. even most of the time when they didn't want to, and they didn't want to leave their families, and they were just looking for a way to survive because of a system that had left them without any resources, without any food to feed their families, and they were just looking for a way out. So recently, I have gotten involved in Justice for Immigrants, which is a diocesan organization that is focused on getting support for immigration and getting immigration reform on a political landscape. So their main focus is the DREAM Act. And the DREAM Act, which stands for Development, Relief, and Education for Alien Minors, was introduced to the Senate in 2001. And it was a bill created for children of immigrants who had been brought to the U.S. at very young ages. And so they had no control over the situation, but because they were born in other countries, they did not have citizen status here in the U.S., meaning that they couldn't get a lot of money for education, and that left them on a track that they wouldn't be able to succeed in the future. So this DREAM Act was introduced into the Senate with the hope that it would be passed quickly to allow these alien minors to get funding from the state and national levels for their educational pursuits. The important thing about the federal DREAM Act is that it also provides a pathway to citizenship for these alien minors, so they're called. And so if they continue their educational pursuits and they graduate college, they have the chance to become citizens, which is a huge deal because that means that they will become involved in the political process and start changing the American landscape as we know it. Unfortunately, it hasn't been passed yet, and so Justice for Immigrants is working on getting that passed in the Senate. And they do this through a number of different ways. They've created different sub-organizations. For example, there's the South Bay Dreamers, and those sub-organizations create pamphlets, they organize rallies, they send out memos to the Congress members of their local districts, and they work on spreading awareness and promoting the DREAM Act so that sometime in the near future it might possibly be passed. We just passed the California DREAM Act, which allows students to get funding on a state level for their educational pursuits. This was a huge victory for immigration reform because up until that point, not much had been happening.
Today, California is just one of many states across the nation that has embraced the students who will compose its future. And it's only a matter of time before the nation takes into action as a whole. One day soon, undocumented students in Alabama will stand up proud, just as we do today, and look forward to their education. Today we celebrate not just the victories of the past, but the victories to come, because we can do it.
Do you know what it's like to be called undocumented? To be called illegal? Do you know what it's like to be categorized as a second-class citizen? Born and raised in San Jose, I'm the elder brother of two. Fortunate enough to have a family that's wealthy, a social security number to work, as well as receiving financial aid from the government for my education. Having the opportunity of success at my reach. But is this really me? Unfortunately, it's not. But what 8540 student wouldn't give to have a life just like this? Being an undocumented student means having many struggles. I can emphasize enough how many times I tried to apply for a job, and after being selected out of many, the end result is always the same. Getting rejected because you don't have a social security number. Here are my fellow students applying for financial aid, while I can't. Hearing of other students talking about the prestigious schools they shall be attending, and me feel left behind. Yet you stop and think of the reasons why our parents migrated to the United States. And I'm sure they tell us the same. For a better future. At least that's what my parents tell me. As an MB 540 student, I'm sure most can agree with me that we have huge financial barriers. Barriers that make us think twice of either pursuing a higher education or staying home and helping support our already needy families. As well as the lack of motivation after seeing that there isn't much being done for us. And yet, even with all these boundaries, we still manage to find within ourselves and within each and every one of us the desire and ambition to keep striving for a better future. So I tell all of you, in fact, I dare all of you to find motivation, get an education, and become successful. Discover the different opportunities there are for you, such as the DREAM Act, or as they have it as AB 130 and 131. Get information on political issues that will be affecting your very lives. Being called undocumented, illegal, being treated as a second-class citizen. This is part of my life. My name is Raul Martinez. I am undocumented and unafraid. Thank you.
One of the major reasons that immigration reform hasn't happened in the United States yet is because people are afraid and they are unaware of what is happening. Immigrants in the U.S. are hardworking people. They are not posing a threat to our jobs, but many Americans believe that the immigrants coming into the U.S. are taking their jobs, they're not paying taxes, they're getting welfare benefits, and they don't understand why immigrants are doing this. They just feel taken advantage of. So this immigration reform that Justice for Immigrants and South Bay Dreamers is working towards is creating a more holistic environment in the United States where the immigrant community and the U.S. community can have a two-way conversation to try and figure out what the best solution is for everybody involved. And that may mean a little give and take between both sides, but the bottom line is that immigrants to this nation need citizenship status so as to be able to not live in the shadows, to not live in fear, and to have a voice in the political system, which at the moment is taking advantage of them and is not giving them any benefits. So if we start with the DREAM Act, that gives some illegal aliens, as they are called, some citizenship, and then maybe the U.S. citizens will understand that the immigrants here, they're not posing a threat, they're not being bad, they are trying to create a better lifestyle for themselves and for their families back at home. So once we start moving in the right direction, it could lead to bigger and better changes and create a society which is open and equal to all of its members.